Episode 45 of AMG Hobby Talk. We are back. So this week's going to be a little bit of an interesting one. We're going to go through a couple of light different items, but we'll make sure we touch on a few different things. First, collecting of the scallops, collecting of the people. Steve, how are you?
Very good. And rumor mill is Blair may be making his return within the next few weeks. So I think he's over in Prince Edward Island this week, still trying to find himself. But hopefully in a couple of weeks he'll be back, assuming the hair is still looking great. So we're all looking forward to that.
I just assume at this point he's just doing a nationwide, Blair Goodwill tour.
Pretty much.
It's bonus Blair from coast to coast. I think that's kind of what we're getting right now.
He has hit every province. He has hit every maritime Atlantic province. I think he's hit this summer. So yeah, he's living the life.
I think we should just get him on a little train. I think we should get him his own little train, and he can just go from coast to coast. I think that'd be kind of fun.
Express.
Listen, I right now I'm seeing some marketing opportunities. I am enjoying where this potential is going. But of course, let me say hello, Sherry, as well. How are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm so excited to get the day started.
Oh, absolutely. It's like it's the zest for the morning is high.
Oh, absolutely.
I was laughing before we started recording because I say, so Sherry, half the time I'm not awake while we're doing this. So I'll get there eventually, but not yet. All right. So we're going to go through a couple of different things that we'll touch on. We'll mention a couple of products, but for the most part, it's going to be restocks and things like that, but we'll touch on that in a moment. One thing I do want to make sure I mention, because it is pertinent for this week, is that there is going to be a trade night on Friday this week. And I believe Monday is the holiday, but it's obviously going to be a long weekend for a lot of folks. But then on Friday, it's going to be 5 to 8 p.m. on Friday night. As far as right now, this time of year, are you expecting that we should get kind of a similar vibe trade night wise for the last couple, Steve? Or you think it's going to start slowly picking up? School has restarted for some folks, so I'm curious if that's going to impact. You think it's going to bring some more people in?
Yeah, it'll be interesting this weekend. Of course, last long weekend, school starting. Hopefully the regulars come and a few new people as well. But yeah, hard to say. We'll just play it by ear, and it is what it is. But we definitely will be here, and I think it will be fine.
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right. And one other thing I'll mention then, and then we'll get into your comments from the last episode. So we do have a few of those, and we appreciate the participation. So I'm also going to mention the eBay store. There's usually eBay auctions Sunday to Sunday, so just bear that in mind. I'll share it here on the video version of this. You can also check out the audio version so you hear what we're saying, but you'll get the full effect if you check out the YouTube. So as always, link is in the description to the eBay store, so you can check that out. And you'll want to be able to check out a lot of the auctions going on. There's also buy it nows and best offers, so you can check that out as well. But every week there are some additional items, new and old, so you'll be able to get the full gamut. If you're interested in some of the newer products that's there, if you're interested in some, buy it nows for some of the other things. So like there's a boxing card here of Floyd Patterson. Then there's also newer SPX. Then there's also patch cards, autograph cards, all kinds of things. If you want to check out what's being listed and included, then you can check out in the description, and that'll give you a direct connection to this. And also sometimes some stuff will come in the store, and some of that stuff may end up on the eBay store. So it's an opportunity for you to get a good look at that as well. So you got a Journey Bedard here. So it's a little bit of everything. You can check it out and check the link in the description to that. Mm-hmm. One other thing while we're doing that is I'll put the little scrolling ticker on there. If there is something that you want to know and you want to get a quicker response, use the contact points. You've got AMG Sports on Instagram, and you've also got the website, amgcollectibles.ca. So you can use those two contact points if you need a quicker response. If you want to leave a comment here, we'll address it in the following episode. But if it's more time sensitive, use one of the contact points, especially if there's a new product coming in or something you want to see what the supply or availability is. Use the contact points to get a more direct answer. Mm-hmm. Now let's talk about some of the comments from last week's episode. Again, thank you to everybody for the participation. So first one here, Jason Raymond says, glad to see Blair is back at the shop. See, we already got another Blair reference. So we've got that in there. And also glad to hear that Steve got the day off and made it to the golf course with his buddies. Look at that. Steve, how considerate. They're thinking about you. A well-deserved day off. Thanks to the collector, the scallops, and the people for the awesome cars he saved me. And a big thank you to Jeff from Slab Sharks for finding a card I was looking for. MG always helping the collectors find what they're looking for. There you go. Not a paid ad. But we appreciate it nonetheless. So next one here, again, 99-cent cards. As much as bonus Blair is missed, see, more Blair. Listen, I think the propaganda campaign is working. I think his stumping from coast to coast is really starting to pay off for him. Halifax shows are more missed. Anything upcoming planned for the return of these shows? Possible bonus Blair meet and greet and autograph signing. See, the people are clamoring. They're clamoring for the Blair. Now, I will mention, so 99 cent, you got to watch the episodes. We did mention that the card shows go on a summer hiatus.
Yeah, we have not secured our next location yet, but it is in the works. So once we have that confirmed, it'll be announced on here, and we'll also have it posted on our social medias and in store.
Perfect. So yeah, so 99 cent, you can be sure that there will be the card shows will be coming back, but it is a scheduled summer hiatus that we did mention. It was going to be away for a couple months during the summertime, so it'll make its rotation back in. So stay tuned, and we will give you details when the next set of shows are starting to come up again. We got Wesker Griff here. So this is Ed. Appreciate hearing about Cherry's experience at Fanatics Fest. Thank you, Ed. Appreciate that. And then we got Robin Taylor here said hockey should ramp up soon. Yep, we are starting to get closer. Right now, I think the first one we'll be looking at, football season is coming up. I think we're almost done the preseason games. So I think first week of September, football starts ramping up. So that'll be getting us going. Once we start getting football first, and then we get into hockey and we start getting rotating, we get into the fall side of the calendar where so the sports start ramping up. That tends to help the whole category because then all of a sudden the games are on and people are observing. Baseball will be on. We'll have 3 sports going on simultaneously, and basketball is coming right after that. So I think we should be getting ramped up across the board. So it should be pretty good. Sanderson Orr, again, I've heard of this person. They seem to be a regular commenter. The video I didn't know I needed in my life. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Exclamation points. I have finally found joy in my miserable life. Let's see. This is what we do. We can.
That's all I tried to do, Eric.
It's all it tries to do. Hashtag chariots of bread. Yes. That's in reference to last week's episode, which you all need to go back and watch because towards the end of the episode, you're going to see majesty. Slow motion majesty. It was majestic.
Oh, it's good.
We should start off with that clip every show.
Yeah.
Trust me, tempting. Very tempting. So last one here is Kung Fury. Yay, Sherry's back. So there we go. Perfect. So thank you everybody for the comments. You're all getting hearts on your comments, so appreciate it. I want to make sure we go through all of them. But I want to thank everybody, and that's actually a pretty good set of comments for last week's episode. So that's pretty good. Appreciate the engagement on that. We appreciate it. So feel free to leave comments, and we'll try to address them in the following episode. And also hit the like button because we appreciate the engagement. And let's also continue getting those subscriptions because we want to keep bumping that up as we go along. Okay, so that covers this week's stuff. Let's quickly touch on. I do have a little list of items that are basically coming, restocks and all that. So what I'll put it is to either one of you. Any specific ones you want to highlight? I'll touch on one, but any specific ones from this list that you would like to mention or highlight?
Yeah, we have a couple of restocks of Pokemon, and we also have a new Pokemon product coming out. We have the Dark Powers EX box. It has 2 promos, a jumbo card, and 5 booster boxes. We still have lots of the Shard of Fable ETBs left, so come on in and get those. Then I also have a restock of Scarlet and Violet, Paldea Evolved, and Obsidian Flames ETBs coming in this week.
Then on the sports side, we've got some Don Ross Optic Mega basketball boxes, a restock of those. We sold out of them right away, so I wouldn't wait too long to come in. We got a nice supply of them, but they will go fast. And then we do have a few new products coming in, but they're not really worth mentioning because, it's a limited supply of them. So I would just suggest, reaching out to the store or popping in late Wednesday afternoon because they will be a first come, first serve. And then, of course, MVP is coming, which is a great entry-level product and affordable product for all collectors and, especially the younger generation that enjoys collecting at a reasonable price.
Mm-hmm. Now, one thing I will mention, just so that we make sure, because I think right now it's important for us, especially when it comes to hockey, to make sure we mention this. This is the 2025 MVP, so it is the year after. It's a second year Bedard, not the rookie year Bedard, second year. We have to make the distinction because for Upper Deck right now, we have kind of 3 years. We have to kind of navigate. There was the 22, 23, 24, and then, 4, 5. So we want to make sure we make the distinction. In this case, it is marked as 25, which is second year Bedard. So just bear that in mind and then plan accordingly. That way you're not misled in terms of what's there. And I know Steve's very humble about this, but if you go in the store, ask him about Pokemon Trick or Treat Booster Bundle. Please, and record your interaction. I want to see Steve explain the Booster Bundle. That is how it's written, by the way. That I'm not adding the emphasis. That's how it's written.
Steve's been trying to up his knowledge on the Pokemon side since the Blair Express has been gone over the summer. So come on in and ask Steve any questions you have.
I know,
especially about the booster bundle.
I know 2% more than I did a year ago, so I'm getting there.
Massive, amazing. And then the other one you can ask him about, again, Steve is an extensive expert on this. You can ask him about WWE undercard. Very, very, and let me tell you, but if you want to know about it, you got to run to the store. I mean, run fast, run really fast. I will let you know just in case, for those who might not be familiar with it, it is kind of their alternative to the hobby. It is a little bit scaled down from the hobby, less cards in there, less packs. However, it is also more reasonably priced than the hobby box. So you do have that going for you. And it does contain an autograph. And there are some nice items in there that are exclusive to that particular undercard product, including the undercard parallels, undercard cards, and there's undercard golds, a couple of them. Again, if you like Prism and that's what you're familiar with, then that's what you're going to find in there. There are exclusives for this particular product. And the price point is a little bit more reasonable because they cut down on it. It's not quite all the way to retail, but it is a step up from retail, but a step below hobby. So it's kind of that intermediate in between that they created. So just bear that in mind.
The price point of that will sell it. And like, again, very limited supply, but we will definitely try to order some more, but it just depends what's available when that restock comes. But definitely the price point on it is what's attractive about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, for folks that know Prism, you'll understand just look at what Prism normally is. It is more scaled back from that, but then the price was also adjusted accordingly, which again, to Steve's point, makes it more attractive, a little bit more reasonable if you would like to get in on it without having to pay the full freight of the hobby. It's gotten a little expensive. So we wanted to make sure we touched on that. Okay. So let's go through a couple of cards here and then we'll finish up with some thoughts here at the end. But let me start off here. So we've got a combination of some items. We'll touch on a little bit based on Fanatics because obviously Sherry gave us the rundown last week. One of the things at Fanatics that you could have gotten was those exclusive Topps Chrome boxes. In those Topps Chrome boxes, you could pull an exclusive New York themed parallel. The name escapes me of what it exactly was, but I'll show you an example of it. So this is one example of it. We got an Ellie De La Cruz card here. This rookie. But then as you can see, you got the little skyscrapers on it. This is an exclusive parallel available only in these Fanatics Fest boxes. Specifically, you got to go there to go get those.
And I'm so happy for the customer that pulled that because I've witnessed some of his pulls, and you know how it is when you open a box, you never know what you're going to get, and he's had some disappointments. So when he got home and sent me a picture of this, I was thrilled and couldn't happen to a better person. So I think it's got a fairly significant value, and a very short print run as well. So. Love it when a good customer pulls a great card.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, one of the ones that a lot of folks will be looking out for. So this one's a great one, obviously, because it's a rookie. So Ellie is a great name to pull. It is a rookie. And then the other one that I think has garnered a bit of a premium are the Yankees. Obviously, with the theme that Yankees are appreciated. Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, those guys would tend to get a little bit of a premium for it. But then obviously a rookie like Ellie De La Cruz, there you go. Those are some of would definitely qualify as one of the better pulls you could get out of that particular parallel in the set. Then we got to have our Bedard content. So we've got that on there. So this one is debut ticket access. This is from Credentials. And then we do have, it looks like an on-card auto on this one. This one's on card.
I was surprised it was on card. So, and out of 35. So I wasn't aware that, Credentials necessarily had an on-card auto. So that's a big surprise.
Yeah, pretty good deal on that one. So you can see the numbering is a little blurry, but it is right there, kind of just highlighted there for you. But again, on-card auto, I think, is pretty good. That's a good feature. And it's got a little bit of background. The foil is very similar to Unparalleled, I believe, from Panini does a very similar thing with their foil. Unparalleled, I believe, is the one. But regardless, it gives it a little bit of a shine, and then to go along with an on-card auto in a good spot. I think it was smart of them to give a little space there for Bedard to actually be able to sign it. But there is a Credentials debut ticket access autograph out of 35. So now we're going to go a little bit of a mix here. So 22 SP Authentic. I'm not going to try to pronounce any part of this name. PSA 10.
Want me
You want to give us a pronunciation here, Steve? It's all you.
Well, I know it's Slavkovsky, so we'll go with that. Urag or Jurag, I don't know, but
we'll
go with Slavkovsky.
Yeah, sure. But he's one of the most sought after rookies. Of course, it helps that he's a Canadian, but I think this was a pop 4, and I did post it on eBay and put it in the store. And within 5 minutes, the first customer that walked in the store took it. So lots of potential, and getting the 10-10 on the card also helps. But It went fast.
There you go. And that was the SP Authentic Future Watch. So that was a specific one that was added in here. Now we're going to do a little bit of vintage. So we've got the 65 Topps Phil Esposito in an EX5. Pretty clean looking copy, actually. Centering isn't too bad. A little bit off left to right, but actually pretty clean, all things considered, for a 5. Nice.
Over here.
All right. Second one here. We've got the OPC Guy Lafleur rookie. So this one's in a PSA 4. Again, for a 4, looking pretty clean for the most part. Obviously, you got a little soft corners, but again, it's a 4, so you've got to kind of factor that in. But it's a good one to get in.
Yeah, and great sideburns.
Oh, well, you got to have the 70 sideburns. That's part of it. Then we've got 64 Philadelphia Jim Brown. Now, this one's kind of an interesting one. Obviously, the Philadelphia cards are a part of what was going on in the mid-'60s. Jim Brown, obviously legend. But I hadn't really seen this card before. I was familiar with the set. But what I think is interesting about it is it looks like Jim Brown is sitting and there's like a car behind him. And I'm wondering if they like combined 2 images or if that's literally how they did it. I'm kind of curious about this picture. This picture is
I just noticed that. Yeah, I've never paid attention to it other than I was so focused on Jim Brown and loved that pose and the card. But yeah, now I'm seeing it might be a used cars dealership in the background there he's posing for. So might be a little
like in today's world, I would almost think that was a green screen. It feels like you're combining 2. It feels like the image in the background does not match the image in the foreground. It's like you took a picture of Jim Brown and then you got a background and then you threw it in there. This is kind of an interesting one. I got to be honest. So this one is in a PSA 5, but nonetheless, a very intriguing card. Again, pretty clean copy there on the front, which is nice. So it is Jim Brown kind of still at the peak of his powers on this image. So very interesting, that one. Then we got a 59 Topps Hank Aaron. So this one's in a PSA 5. So 59 is one of those interesting years because this one, I want to say in the later 50s, Topps got a little bit interesting where like they were still doing their stuff, but I feel like they were still turning the corner. 1960 is actually one that I'm a big fan of. 59 is one that you can either take it or leave it. I will say, though, a lot of the colors are pretty vibrant. They can pop. So this yellow does stand out a little bit with the Hank Aaron in red text on it. So it's a little bit feast or famine in terms of whether you like it or not. But I do think this one certainly pops with the color of yellow. And actually, we got 3 different cards in a row that have at least some kind of yellow color, with the Jim Brown also having a little yellow, and then the Canadians with the Guy Lafleur background. So that's 3 in a row there. So 66 Topps Mickey Mantle here on this one. I've had a couple of copies of this card in the past. It's a pretty interesting card. This is late Mickey Mantle. It is kind of interesting if you follow kind of who his career was. By this point, his career was a little bit in decline, so it is kind of interesting seeing through cards. Mickey just kind of being there. So in this case, he's just posing for it. There's literally a batting cage behind him. So it's literally a superposed photo because it's like he's facing towards the stands, with the batting cage behind him. It's like, hey, Mickey, just grab a bat and hold it and we'll take a picture. Okay, sure. This one also is kind of an interesting picture as well. So this is a 64 Topps Willie Mays. I kind of wonder what was going on near the mid-'60s there, Steve, with the Topps photographers. It's like, guys, are we trying? Willie Mays is literally just looking sideways off the shot. This is not Willie Mays' most flattering pose, I must say.
No, but very clean card, though, and nice centering.
It is.
But yes, the photography is a little something to be desired.
Maybe he needed a car dealership behind him like Jim Brown. That would probably been nice.
That's my new favorite card.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got sometimes. Look, may I make a suggestion? I offer a suggestion for folks as collectors. Sometimes take a moment and take a look at your cards. Sometimes you'll notice interesting things that you might not have caught originally. Vintage actually has little Easter eggs sometimes if you pay a little attention to it. Wait, what's going on there? Just take a little closer look. Sometimes you'll be surprised what you find. So anyway, this one's a 64 Topps Willie Mays. This one's in a PSA 6, and it is a clean copy. 64 Topps, I think, is actually a pretty clean design. It's very basic in terms of what it is, but I think some of the cards actually do respond to it very well. Like I said, the issue that I have with this one is just the pose they chose for Willie Mays. I don't think they did him any favors, but the set itself and the card actually could have been potentially quite good. I think a different pose would have worked well for Willie on this one. All right, 72 Topps Roger Staubach. If memory serves me, I believe this is his rookie as well. And I will say this one's in a PSA 7. It looks pretty clean. Centering's not bad on this. Top to bottom might be a little bit, but left-right is actually looking pretty good, all things considered.
Yep, that's a 72 Topps is a tough set. And, of course, he's a Dallas Cowboy, so lots of Cowboy fans out there. And it's fairly reasonable card. It's a big jump from a 7 to an 8. So this is an affordable copy for those that want a Staubach rookie.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of a little trivia note, a factoid, and this is something you guys can look into. Do a little research on it if you're curious and interested. One of the things you may notice, and Steve, I'll share. I'll give this to you. Where is the Dallas Cowboy logo?
There would not be one.
That's right. So one of the things that I've talked about it on my podcast and other places. One of the things that's kind of it's an interesting quirk of the way it happened in the NFL, and the go take a look from about, I want to say 1970 into the 80s. And this includes the Joe Montana rookie and some other ones. Go take a look through that era. What you're going to notice is a lack of logos because there was actually a dispute with the rights. So I believe it was Fleer that had the logos so they could make logo cards and tops. These are actually not fully licensed. And that was the entire decade basically of the 70s. So what you're going to notice is a lot of, helmetless shots, face shots, kind of like this Roger Staubach. So the O.J. Simpson rookie, the Roger Staubach rookie, the Terry Bradshaw rookie, go take a look. Walter Payton, go look, and you're going to see a lot of no helmet shots because they could not use the logo on it. So people that look today about unlicensed, the Panini semi-licensed and all that, go look at the entire decade of the 70s in football, and you're going to notice a lot of those because of those interesting quirk. And the 81 tops Joe Montana, one of the most famous cards, is not fully licensed. Still the rookie. But it's just kind of interesting.
Was that Jim Brown card, just out of curiosity? Did he have a logo?
So for Jim Brown, you don't have it, but that was more Philadelphia style. I don't think they had the same limitation. So I think with the tops one is interesting because they had that limitation. I don't think Philadelphia had that issue necessarily. I think for them it was an aesthetic choice. Again, with the wonderful background of the cards and the background. I think these were just aesthetic choices. It's very different. Yeah. But I wanted to point it out since it's a 70s football card. And it's just something I thought I would give you guys as a little kind of a note. So now if you collect, go take a look through your 70s football for tops, and you're going to see actually why is there no logo on it? Or like, why are the shots like this? It's like, there's a reason for that. It's a very interesting piece of hobby history. You can check that out. And the Staubach is a good example of that. All right, last one here. We'll go a little bit shine. Oh, one more thing I wanted to mention. I think a very interesting choice with the hair. He's got a little bit of the windswept look. And it actually plays very nicely into this one, speaking of the hair. So now we got the hockey hair. So this one is a 16-bit. So now we go to the modern day 22 Upper Deck Allure. This is the Wayne Gretzky 16-bit version. So he's there with 16-bit again with the wonderful hockey hair. He's got almost like a little bit of a fro going, Steve. Wayne had quite the locks going, especially for a chunk of his career.
Yeah. That card actually, the picture doesn't do it justice. In hand, it was it definitely popped and stood out. And the good thing about this card too is I did put it on eBay, and shortly after. A collector reached out, and that was the one card he needed to complete his 16-bit set. So always happy, to help a collector finish something they've been working on for a while. So that found a nice new home.
Nice. So the 16-bit are a very interesting set, and I will say it's been a pretty good one that Allure has done. And I'm kind of a fan of it, and they brought it into some of the other ones. They brought it into the AEW product with Allure as well, so that's been a part of that. I do think it's a cool nod, especially for folks that were collectors back in that era. So it gives you a little bit of a contrast, which is actually kind of fun. So I think I do appreciate that aspect of it. So that's a pretty good inclusion. Perfect. So I wanted to make sure we included a couple of those. So those are some items that came in the shop the last couple of weeks. Some of them have already been moved on, as Steve has indicated. But usually we'll try to showcase a few of those every week where we can, and especially as some interesting stuff comes in the store. In the same vein of what we talked about earlier, if you are curious, Steve already mentioned during some of those that some of those ended up on the eBay store. So you can check it out. If you check out the eBay store, and if it pops up on there, before we even get a chance to showcase it, it may already be there. So you may be able to pick it up for yourself or make an offer. And again, you can reach out to the store and ask questions if there's anything in particular that you want to make sure you note on. So last thing then we'll touch on, and we'll leave it open if there's anything else we want to mention. But I'll remind again, trade night happening on Friday since it is this week. So we want to make sure we make a note of that. Links in the description to everything that you need to hit on, the eBay store or anything related to it, all the social medias. You can follow those if any updates are coming. And if there's any sightings of bonus player, that may be on the updates. We may just have to include that a tracker, like the Santa tracker during Christmas. We may need a bonus player tracker as he gallivants around the countryside.
Could be a good idea.
I'm just saying. I'm full of ideas, especially as I slowly start to wake up towards the end of the podcast. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask real quick. So right now we're actually a pretty good time for this episode, but let me ask: is there anything though that we want to make sure we touch on, or any other reminders, or anything that we keyed in that we haven't already touched on?
Yeah, with football and basketball getting ready to start up, we're definitely looking to buy some basketball and football cards, not base cards or anything, but like $50 to $200 cards, just to kind of restock our showcase, with some good rookies, some numbered cards, that sort of thing. So if you have any of those kicking around, bring them into the store, because we'd like to stock up as the football season ramps up. Plus, as we discussed before, it's a little harder for us to get football and basketball product in this area anyway. So definitely drop by with what you have, and hopefully we can do some business.
Very good. I like it. Sounds good. So hopefully you guys enjoy. Have yourselves a great trade night. We'll talk about it next week. Hopefully we've got some good things to report. So hopefully it'll be an enjoyable experience. If you folks are in the local area and get a chance to pop in, check it out. Hang out a little bit. It's kind of a fun time. It also is good when there's a good atmosphere and people are around doing some trading, doing some buying. And if you run really fast, you can get that WWE Prism undercard. And again, Steve can tell you who all the characters are. Ask him in intricate detail. That and the booster box for Pokemon.
Yes.
Those two things you need to quiz Steve on. Go to the store and ask the collector of the scallops about the booster box. I'm going to harp on this because they did this, and as soon as I saw that list, it's like, I am not letting this go, Sherry. I am not letting it go. Someone did this.
We'll have a video next week of Steve discussing what's in the booster bundle.
I want someone to actually open it. That should be, that right there is content that we need.
We'll get Steve.
Sounds like a Blair. No, we'll get Blair to do it. That's his penalty for taking the summer off.
There you go. Perfect. All right. So sounds good. So that'll be it for this episode. We want to thank you again for checking it out. Again, feel free to include comments in the comments section. We do try to address them in the following episode. And there was a good set of engagement in the last episode. So that's always good. And if you like the video, that would be really appreciated. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Otherwise, Steve, Collected the Scallops, Collected the People. We thank him as always for participating. Sherry, thank you once again. Sherry's back. We're in consecutive weeks with Sherry. This is getting very exciting. We're going to start the counter. It's going to be really good. I think it's going to be a pretty good leading into.
Starting my streak.
Absolutely. We got to work in the streak here as we start heading. Again, this episode is late August, September. By next episode, we're creeping towards the expo. You think like, oh, it's like, you'll see. Before you know it, don't blink too fast. Don't just run getting the booster box from Steve. Before you know it, remember, it's the booster box. October. It's coming. We're getting closer now.
Absolutely.
All right. So that's it for us this time around. Thank you very much. And we will catch you in the next one.